What's up, wrestling fans? We are back again. I am JaySin here with the Horror King Gary. We are discuss Impact Wrestling, depending how you're searching for it. Available most everywhere. And this week, well, it's an interesting week because we don't have a ton of news, so we're going to be talking about the show mostly, which we normally don't do. It's kind of the other way around. The big news of the week is Team 3D is returning, and there is a bunch of updates for the New Japan Impact Multiverse 2 show. And I don't know, am I missing any big news there? Gary? What?
Not really on my in my mind really because we discussed that this is kind of soon with another Multiverse United because it was like a mere 4 or 5 months ago we had the first one. I do think this card is much stronger than say the first one, but like we had mentioned before we went to air, they're almost taking on specials all at once, Jay.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's an interesting one. So, Julia is the strong women's champion. And at some point, I guess Deanna said something about her wanting to face her. And so it got back to Julia, who said, like, yeah, sure, I'm in. And then Gisele popped in, like, with Deanna. And then someone called Momo Kogo, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, is another New Japan person. So that's also a match which, if we can go by Wikipedia, has been made, even though it hasn't been made in real life somewhere. But it's Julia versus Deanna defending the Strong Women's Championship versus Deanna, Gisele, and Momo Togo. And then what else was announced today? Kenny King versus, oh God, do you want to try that one? Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Yeah, I can't do this. Just look it up, people. A bunch of matches got updated today. There was two for the pre-show. Joe Hendry, Yuya, my boy Yuya, finally becoming my boy. Heath versus Rocky Romero, and 6 or 9, which I guess is a team with Taguchi and Master Wato. And then, yeah, I think that's everything. There's the scramble match is cool. Bushi versus Sabin versus Desperado versus Kazarian versus Knight versus Rich Swann versus Mao. I don't know who Mao is.
It was pretty cool too that we get Team Bullet Club.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All the the members of the team are Bullet Club, and it's like I think it's going to be like pretty much all against Impact is what I'm seeing.
This one is Ace Austin, Alex Coughlin, Chris Bay, Clark Connors, David Finlay, and Kenta. Shit, that is stacked. And all Bullet Club, yeah. But then it's against the World, which is El Phantasmo, Josh Alexander, PCO, and Tama and Tonga. Tonga and Tonga Lao. So we're getting those dudes on the show, which is nice. But it's a 12-man match, so you know.
So what were there actually members of New Japan that are kind of mixing it up?
So it's all Bullet Club, and then the World would be, I guess, ex Bullet Club guys. Like I guess El Phantasmo is an ex Bullet Club guy, and so is Tama and Tanga, I think. But then you got PCO, Josh, and whoever the DCK is. Yeah, we are not New Japan specialists here, so you should check with somebody else for all this. But as we were talking about before the show, I'm curious how many Impact fans watched the first one and are watching this one. Maybe leave a comment before we move on to something else so I can stop hacking these names. But I watched the first one, but I wasn't like, ooh, I'm crazy interested in this, you know? Like I just kind of watched it because it was there, and I think we did a show about it.
Yeah, I think what it was for a lot of people going into it and coming out of it, it was basically the production was kind of like subpar. So, I mean, I can totally
understand. And then throwing on top, not knowing the wrestlers, half of them, it's rough. So you got to have good production, especially with these shows. I think maybe even get I don't know, get a different announcer. You know, get like a New Japan specialist or something that can kind of help out with that thing. But a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, just what you would probably say, and get some goddamn lights on that venue.
Oh yeah, seriously. So, quick thing from Deanna Purrazzo today. New interview just came out. Talking about Jordan Grace, if Jordan comes back, We don't know what's happening. She's a free agent. Nobody knows what's next for Jordan. If she decides to come back to Impact, whenever that might be, I do think she's out for vengeance. We haven't seen her since I defeated her at Under Siege, and I think she'd definitely be in the running if she wants to come back to be champion. And then she was asked who she thinks would be, who would be a good knockout champion in the future. And she named two names, Kylene King, who I totally agree with, and then Giselle Shaw, who I totally don't agree with for a billion reasons. Yeah. I mean, just really quickly, she's sleeping with Scott, which is, I don't want to get into the whole thing about like trans rights and all that, but like, how is this a good thing? How is it like not terrible for like transgender people that someone is out there sleeping their way to the top and they're making like a huge deal about it? Like she went through all these struggles and shit when she barely did indies. Like, she went through struggles in real life because of her decisions. Like it didn't have anything to do with wrestling other than the one story so far we've heard about, Steiner.
Think on it too is, we're kind of just, I know Jody Threat's kind of new to the scene, but she's gotten some really credible wins here and there. She's she held her own. Didn't she hold her own recently against Diana too long ago? And why not go that route? I feel like,
and the thing with Giselle has beaten almost everyone. You know what I mean? Like Giselle has beaten almost everyone, and nobody believes it. Like people aren't buying it. They announced a tag team match for Emergence. This was right after she beat Masha clean, and I freaked out about it. Remember, this was like last week, I think, because she should never beat Masha clean. That was total bullshit. That was terrible booking. MK Ultra should not be losing right now, and they lost because it was setting up a tag match, but something happened. Then it changed. The tag match became it was the champs against Giselle and Savannah, but something happened. Now it's the tag champs versus 4 teams because I think nobody gives a shit about Giselle. They announced a match, and I think they got a lot of shit. Like, why is this a match? Who cares? Obviously, the champs are going to win and retain it. It was a pointless match, and they changed it. So I'm really happy about the part that they changed it at least. And you can bash me for not liking Giselle, for sleeping with the guy, and whatever. Scott being a freak for pushing his piece of ass. I don't care. Whatever. It's messed up.
Yeah, well, I think the pairing of her and Savannah Evans as a faction of sorts has not been like must-see TV either, just because there's like there's no oneness as a team there. I just don't see what the appeal would be sticking those members together.
Yeah,
it's it's not going nowhere.
No. And it hasn't been. I think I mentioned it somewhere, but on the pro wrestling fan group, which recently underwent a name change because not enough people talk about Impact, and I can't really blame them anymore because it's been boring as shit in my opinion. It's just, and anyone can go back and listen. There were times where I've said a bunch on the podcast. Impact is so fucking consistently good. Like I was getting bored with reviewing it. I would even say, hey, maybe they should throw in some bad episodes every now and then. You know what I mean? So I don't have to keep running down the shows being like, oh, this was good, 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 this was fine, this was okay. But that changed, and I don't know when. Sometime like 6 months ago, maybe, sometimes late last year. And the creative has been shit. The booking has been shit. Everything is like 50-50. Like the teams don't. It would make sense if you have Giselle being kind of carried. Giselle, her name is the quintessential diva. You know what I mean? And then she has this monster with her. Savannah could be carrying her, and then it would make sense. Kind of like an HBK Diesel kind of thing, or like at least at first, and then like have Giselle like become a better, whatever. But it didn't work.
Kind of like more in the vein of Joe Doring.
Yeah, the way they're doing it isn't working, so why not change it? But whatever. They're just going to stick with the Shantaraj, which is actually a name on Wikipedia, I found out. It's just kind of hysterical. The Shantaraj. Something else that I bet nobody knows the name of that goddamn group because it's such a shit group. And Jay Vidal is anybody more wasted than that dude? He's a really good wrestler. Like you mentioned a bunch of times. You've seen him in like X Division matches and shit.
Yeah, I know he's a lot, he has a lot more fruits of his labor that he could be doing on the show, and he's really
just valet.
that and a bit of a mouthpiece, So I
Yeah.
mean, it's really not a. I wish they could give him something like more interesting, even if he like had a feud with hell, even with Jody Threat or something. Make him, make don't always make him be like like a buffoon on the show.
Yeah. Speaking of buffoons, also, Jesus, I forgot his name. The Devil. The Devil has returned, and his name is. Jesus, I'm really blanking on his. What the hell's his name? The guy with the. Okay, well, you know what? I hate him so much. I'm Johnny Bravo. So we got
Oh,
Bravo. So we got Bravo back now, and I don't like the Eric Young stuff at all. I feel like they could have brought him back in a much more interesting way. And the same goes for Jake Something. Jake Something, they're doing the same exact shit they did with originally. Like, I've seen this. We've watched this before. Jake is a big dude. He gets pushed over guys, and
yeah,
um,
it's definitely fair. I felt like they missed the boat there just by bringing him back, and like they didn't give him like, and it's basically the
yeah,
rinse and repeat kind of thing, just bringing him back and plugging that he's something. But
it, it,
that's
it reminds me of Shira. That's the only character I can think of that they do this with. That they kind of just like bring back every now and then, and they pretend he's like a big deal, and it's different, but nothing is different.
oh yeah,
And
like they repackage him, and
yeah,
like no matter how they do it, he's just missing something. You know what
and
I mean?
and Jake's a hell of a wrestler. I mean, I don't know, man. Just like I think everyone agrees, like he's missing. He was always missing something, and like they didn't add that thing to it. So, and then EY, I hate all that stuff. I just wish it. I wish it. I wish they never went back to it. I mean, it's the Diener stuff. It's boring as shit. It's not a good the Diener thing. It's a bad group. It never worked. Similar to the Shantaraj. But there was some awesome stuff on this show, like Sammy and Rich versus ABC, and an incredible match between Bailey and Kushida, which probably one of the matches of the year. But everything else was kind of like, I don't know, just weird. And there was a crazy Steve thing. I thought it was very odd. And this could have been very cool, but it was like the opposite because I don't like how they're like, they're talking about Crazy Steve and his eyes and how he's legally blind, which is a real thing. And I thought they should have mentioned this like years ago because like, people were like, wow, this is a real thing. Holy shit. But like they're playing it off of the whole dollhouse. Jesus. Death
Menagerie.
dolls. No, the Death
Oh,
Dolls menagerie.
because he did mention menagerie.
You're even
Oh,
further off than I was. But it's like it's playing up the Death Dolls thing, which I hate. Like it should just be a straight up Crazy Steve thing, but whatever. I mean, it's good for Steve. Nice to see him get some time or whatever. And I did like the subculture defending in the UK and Impact having a little video of it, and you can actually watch the match on their YouTube channel.
oh
So there
wow.
was some cool stuff, and I loved. Oh, and one of my favorite. I actually gave this 400 out of 400 in my new Meltzer-like grading system. A bunch of things got like 350. Okay, just for an example, the opening match got 356 out of 400. So very good opening match. If you're going by the numbers, it's kind of 3 out of 4, I think. I just felt like making a stupid ass thing. So I gave this a perfect segment, a 400. We see a man backstage, and someone like said saying my name, and then Hendry popped out, and then you popped, and then you popped out. I don't know why. I just thought it was
Yeah.
so. Just like at this point, Yu's face is making me smile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
so
I guess that.
quickly. It happened so quickly.
Why do I feel like this little thing with him and Yuya is going to lead to Joe Hendry turning heel?
Oh, definitely. Well, I think they're gonna. Here's the thing, though: are people gonna cheer for Yuya over Hendry in the UK? I don't think so. So I think he'll be like. Actually, maybe I don't know. UK fans are smart. Maybe they'll see through this piece of crap. Character. He's like he's a dick character. That's all I mean. But maybe he'll be over. I think maybe he'll be over his shit over there. So maybe Yuya will
Oh,
also be over his shit over there. So that will be cool. So yeah, I also we mentioned the Swan Callahan defeating ABC was surprising, and I
well,
mean,
it was until we seen how they actually advanced.
yeah,
I want
I
to
would have
get right towards.
preferred. Where were the Rascals at? Shouldn't this have been a spot for the Rascals to fuck with these guys and not the good hands who have kind of been, I
Well,
don't
I
know.
think it's because I believe they had already advanced.
Oh,
to the
okay.
final,
The Rascals?
and
Yeah.
they really don't have, they don't really have nothing to lose or gain, other than like maybe the biggest threat being
That's what I
ABC.
was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Take out the biggest threat. Then you can like mess with Sammy and Rich. Like, hey, why don't you guys watch this video of when you feuded last year? You know what I mean? Just like something simple with those two.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
If
then,
I'm not
yeah,
mistaken, with the Rascals, this might be their first chance to become tag team champions. I think they've missed it before. Like, I think they came close to winning it before,
yeah, I
but
think that's
then
it. I think it's one of those crazy stats.
yeah, like they never won it, and then I can't remember the third Rascal. He went up north to NXT.
Just
They
looking for
never
the
got
show.
there.
Were they on the show? I don't think they were on the
No,
show this week. Also, that would have.
if they were maybe backstage, I
Mm.
don't remember them actually,
Also, that
being
would have.
on.
Also, that would have gotten them on the show this week. So whatever. I mean, I don't know. Kind of using too many guys. I think it kind of feels a little AEW-ish using the good hands there instead of the Rascals. But whatever. Maybe they got something more going there. And I don't know. I don't want to see ABC versus the good hands again. Like they're just way too good for that shit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so backstage, Santino, who I love. I don't think we got any Scott this week, which I'm happy about because, again, I just want one goddamn person, one authority figure. I want zero authority figures, but if we could have any, I would rather have one than two or three. So, and Santino's just funny as hell. The guy's just always funny. Everything he does, his facial expressions are funny. So the Coven came up to talk about the tag team situation, and so with the tag team situation being, which I talked about before, that there was a tag team match made at Emergence. And I guess, they just came in complaining to Coven, so they added them in. And then Courtney and Jessica popped in. They're like, hey, look at us. We're awesome. We want to be in the match. And Santino, gave them all a match. So now they're all in the match against MK Ultra, which
Yeah, and
is kind of unfair to MK Ultra, I think.
I liked how Killer Kelly goes, "We'll take them all."
Yeah. I thought it was
way.
I thought that was Masha, but maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Killer Kelly just, oh my God, she's so killing this character. No pun intended, but I mean, follow her on Instagram. She's just fucking awesome. And Masha too. They take like really cool pictures together, and it's just it's the total opposite of these other groups we've been competing. It's the total opposite of the design, which I just never felt was like really anything. They were maybe cool in the beginning with Eric Young, then they lost him, and they were like, fuck the design. They'll be jobbers, because I'm sure they never thought Eric Young would return. And then they found themselves kind of screwed because Eric Young returned, and now he has to try and like carry this thing against a bunch of jobbers, which they are, which I don't like calling wrestlers, but they're enhancement talent. Diener, great guy, but he's enhancement talent. Khan, same thing. And then next week we're gonna have Khan versus Eric Young in a match that I don't care.
You could probably throw Bhupinder in there as well, Jay.
Above what people I don't care about,
like a jobber.
Oh yeah.
Kind of
well, I was about to get to him because he faced my boy Dirty Dango, and it's another one. It's like you don't see Bhupinder for like what, a month or something, and then like he pops in and like sometimes he'll get a win. You know what I mean? Like sometimes he'll get a win, and it's like, all right, they're pushing him, and now he just comes in to get squashed.
Didn't they have him having a totally different look too, like a long jacket or some shit? I remember. Like, wasn't it a jacket?
I don't want to be racist. I want to be racist and confuse them. So I don't know, but Bhupinder and Shira and all these guys, just oh man. Oh, I hate to be super racist, but just stick them in that goddamn group like they had originally. Keep them on screen like at one time to a minimum, you know what I mean? And at least if like they're one group, it's a little more powerful as opposed to Bhupinder comes out. It is confusing. You see Bhupinder 1 week, then you can see the other two guys like
but I totally
2 weeks.
Get it. Like if we were hitting up going to India a lot, but we're not even in the cards as of this taping here we're doing. So I don't really see the need to have them, really on the show currently. Like maybe try to shop around, see if we can find like more interesting characters and just let their contracts or their handshake deals go by the wayside. Because I would much rather have Follow Bob back.
Oh yeah, totally. Follow Bob was over as hell no matter where they went. And just going back to Dango beats Bhupinder. Then he got on the mic, loved it, talked about how much he hates wrestling. The whole crowd smells No,
Yeah, this
simple,
is
just simple stuff. And then Jake something came back, and I don't know. I don't like this because I really like Dango, and I feel like he's obviously going to get his ass kicked here by Jake, and
oh,
whenever
yeah, definitely.
like whenever this happens. Um, but yeah, so Bravo distracted Jake, and Dango, tried to attack from behind, and Jake knocked them both out or whatever.
But I wonder if Bravo ain't going to be an occasional, kind of a good thing for Dango though, like in terms of like getting him wins because he is a little
Yeah.
snake,
I'm
and
also
like
thinking he could take an amazing beating from Jake something.
there you go.
I mean, I'm just gonna
That's your
throw
thing.
this out there. If anyone from Impact is listening, throwing people off a building is really fun. Remember when the Big Show fell off the building and everybody thought he was dead, and then he returned and he faced Hogan in the main event? I don't want to see Bravo in the main event, but I do want to see the falling off the building part. Maybe use like they shot the guy once already. It's really not that far fetched.
Yeah. Well, they
So,
have ways of cutting camera angles to make it look, whereas he wouldn't really take the fall or whatever.
well, I would do it like in a joking way, where like he jumps and you see like a fake body's like flipping around, like kind of like just like a totally silly, obviously not really his body going around. I mean, it's wrestling, like how real it doesn't need to be as real as I think people pretend, but that's a different story. And yeah, I don't know about Jake. I really don't. I think I've seen a bunch of comments saying the same thing, but we'll see. And then there was a vignette for the design and Diener saying it's not a failure, but yes, it's a huge failure. Everything about this has been a failure, dude. You couldn't even keep Alan Angels on your team, and I don't even know where he is now. Got some weird getup going. I don't like that either, even though he's the Alan Angels gear. I don't know. He's a
Well,
little too much for me. A little peacocking too much.
yeah, it is different ring gear, that's for sure.
Just throw like some black tights on, make him be like the wrestler, but whatever. So then we had Alicia Edwards and Jody Threat in the only knockouts match of the night, and only the second, or there was a huge lack of knockouts on this show. That's what I'm trying to say here. Gianna was backstage. She challenged Kylie King to a match. That was something else that happened, and
Yeah.
I can't remember anything else. I mean, we
Well,
missed
this
something with
marks the
Johnny's. We missed some. Sorry, I missed something with Johnny Swinger and Kenny King.
Oh yeah, about him being interviewed about training for his title shot, and then Kenny King interrupts him saying being bigger than world champion Alex Shelley, and and then I don't know, Swinger pops a joke that says, "What's the internet, Daddy?"
Yeah, I mean, but okay, are they going with Swingers going after that title? Because I cannot take Swinger versus Kenny King seriously if that's the thing they're going for. But
No,
whatever. Hopefully not. Yeah, it might have been just a joke there. And I mean, Kenny King has been awesome. Another one I wanted to give props to there.
I wonder if
Joe,
it's playing on the WrestleMania, the WrestleMania 3 cart kind of thing,
oh
more,
yeah, yeah,
like more buffoonery, if you will, like going
yeah,
on with Swinger, dreaming for that, that Mania moment or whatever.
yeah, totally, yeah. So Jody beats Alicia, pretty short match, I think. And
Yeah, this
after,
marks the second time these two ladies have faced each other. So Jody Threat coming out of this is 2-0 against our
yeah,
Robles Alicia.
yeah. Sorry, Robles. And Kazarian ended up hitting Alicia with the kendo stick because he was trying to hit Eddie, which is
Well, that's what I mean.
pretty fucked up, Kazarian. Jeez.
Well, say what you will about like Alicia if you're not a fan of hers, but man, she
Oh yeah,
took a good shot with that kendo stick. I mean, I know he probably timed it so it would he wouldn't full on hit her, but man, that looked really hard on TV. I don't know
yeah.
what
I'm
you
telling you,
thought.
I've said that a bunch about her. Like I think that's her best thing. She's very good at selling. I've watched her in a bunch of indie matches where she like hardcore matches. She just gets her ass kicked, and like that's her thing. Like she's really good at selling, and I don't know.
Yeah,
She could be teaching people. Jesus.
I don't know if you noticed along ringside that like the fans bought it too. They were like in awe, kind of
Yeah.
like that awe moment that WWE was so famous for back in the day. It kind of felt in that vein, kind of like on a Monday Night Raw episode.
Yeah. So then, Mike Bailey versus Kushida, absolutely awesome. Loved it. one of my favorite matches of the year, I would even say. It reminded me of that Sabin match with, like, who the hell was it? Sabin and Bailey, I think.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, how many matches of the year has Mike Bailey, or Speedball, if you will,
Yeah.
chalked up this year in 2023? I mean, he's probably almost in the double digits at this point.
Yeah, I think he's easily the Impact Wrestler of the year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Or
What's
if not the top two.
Yeah, I don't even know who the. No, I'm not even sure who the other would be. I mean, if you're just going by like great matches, unless you're counting like the knockouts, which I'm not
Yeah,
right now. I'm just thinking of dudes, but whatever.
I'm
Kushida,
counting like wins and losses more or less, because he
yeah,
has kind of been losing here and there.
I was gonna say
Which
he has
is
lost a few of these, including this one against Kushida. But I mean, I don't know. Like, he's kind of like bulletproof. I feel at this point. I mean, I don't know. I guess a few more losses would hurt, but I like Kushida winning. He's got he's the number one contender. I just
yeah.
wish there was some. I wish there was some way to bring. I wish there was something with Sabin or Shelley here. I don't know what exactly, but I feel like everything should be leading to Kushida, Shelley, and Sabin kind of destroying each other, or you know what I mean, like that. That's how Shelley loses his title. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's not the reason. I'm just looking for it.
Yeah,
So whatever.
I don't know what it is as of late. The ratings have been, I guess they were up, or not up, but there wasn't a report the follow or previous week. But I guess there's still like somewhere around 130,000 viewers and on this week's show. So
Yeah,
it's still
last
doing
week was
pretty.
150. It was like a huge thing. But I mean,
Yeah,
120, 130, that's like very good for them. That's usually like their high, other than that crazy 150 that came out of nowhere last week. I mean, they have gotten like
yeah,
140s, 130s, but they're usually like 120, and they have gotten as low as like 60 and 70. And like that's when I was like, Jesus, that's when we were like freaking out about ratings like a year ago, whatever.
Well, that's the thing. There was some discussion on Impact Asylum. I'd like to give Talon a nice shout out. He's been really cool with us.
What's up,
Letting him
jerks?
post on his webpage in his group and community. Thank you, Talon, for that. And like, I don't know, it's just like there's a lot of things going on with like the wrestling the way it is, and like I don't know, just I had to throw that out there about Talon, but I don't know. I kind of guess I lost my train of thought of where we were going, Jay.
It happens. Don't worry. It happens to me all the time. So we had the awesome match there, and then we mentioned the other stuff, the Yuya thing, the subculture thing, the Steve thing, and then the main event, which was, I didn't like that, man. What the hell? Don't be telling me Laredo, what the hell's his name? Laredo Kid.
Oh,
Samurai. Don't tell me Kalisto was going to start and then jump him before the show.
yeah, that was very. I thought that was very like stupidly written. I know it's done for a reason, but I don't know. I just thought this was a pretty sick 6-man match, and then you lose one of the biggest pieces on that team.
Yeah, but also, I mean, was it? That's another problem. Like Laredo Kid and Black Taurus. Like I don't know how other people think of them. I mean, I could totally see people thinking of Black Taurus as like a jobber. I've seen people say they love him. Laredo Kid, the same. I mean, the guy was he was a big champion in AAA. He's had all kinds of titles. I think he's a blast to watch. And like to me, he should be like a top X Division guy, maybe Kalisto too. But they're going against Bully, Moose, and Myers, who are like, I don't know, I feel like each one of them is bigger than the guy on the other side, At least from
Oh,
booking and everything else, how they've been treated.
well, that's the thing. We've been like discussing that in the past about like their direction for Laredo and Black Taurus. Like they don't really get that shining moment because we don't know what the relationship is with AAA.
Yeah, it's another thing. It seems like everything with AAA is very confusing and weird, and I don't know, like whatever. Just every day I read something different about AAA and like some kind of issues and whatever. So I mean, I can't blame Impact for that, other than maybe just stop working with AAA if there's so many fucking issues, because it's not really doing much for the talent like Laredo Kid and Black Taurus to come in and lose every few months. Maybe win a match every few months, win or lose a match. It's like I don't know. It seems pointless. Like just getting them work, getting them on television, and it's not really has anything. Like this match was very like. What does this have to do with anything? Where did fucking you know what I mean? Like I get the heels, but where does Laredo Kid and Black Taurus? What are they like? How are they near the top of the card in whose eyes, except for my dreams?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like they booked it for the main event, and it's like on paper, it's pretty fucking cool. But
Yeah.
then like everything after it, outside of being, signed to the paper here on this episode, just like everything was really flat. Like I don't know. There's like a lot of like issues for me, like kind of sloppiness, if you will. And I mean, like, did Bully, Moose, and Myers are, did they really need, an advantage? I mean, they were probably
Oh
going to
yeah,
win this
really. Yeah,
already.
yeah, that too. I mean, and what was the deal with it? Was it just to make Leo more of a dick?
It maybe. I mean, we can see how it. I don't know, because I just get this feeling like Leo's not really on their team fully.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. I would like that if he did kind of swerve them and fuck everyone and like I don't know, maybe cashed in something and like screwed Bully or something and because
well,
I feel like they did it way too fast when they were like, oh, what side is he on? And then he was like, oh, he's on our side. Okay, well that happened really fucking fast.
I'm starting to think that maybe this is they're booking him to kind of live up to his persona. I know the internet fans out there have not taken to him in the past because he said he's really hard to work with, has a really shitty attitude. So I'm wondering if maybe Impact isn't writing creative into his, into
Oh,
his
I
weak
get it.
or
Oh,
into
that's
his
cool.
strength. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
what
I would
I'm
like that.
wondering.
I would like that. But I will say this: I feel like, well, not feel like they've been doing things way too slow. Like you just said about Leo. If that's like the story, we need to see. Like it has to be like a movie or a fucking TV show. Like you have to remind people of things like weekly. You can't just do it like, okay, here it is this time, and we'll get back to it in a few weeks, like, and hopefully you'll still care, like, kind of like the design and like whoever else, even the tag champs, Subculture. We've barely seen those dudes, but I kind of lost myself here.
Yeah, I think that's catching tonight, Jay. I think some of mine is probably I inhaled too much pot at the
Uh,
Sturp concert weekend.
mine was I did not inhale enough pot before recording today because somebody called and woke me up out of nowhere very rudely when I was taking a nice nap after watching the shit. What was I watching? Not Leatherface.
I don't even know who that guy is, but he's pretty. He sounds pretty cool though, Jay.
Oh, oh, sorry. So we got two things here. After the match, Bully Ray is leaving the arena. PCO back from the dead knocks on his window. Love that. Awesome.
Oh yeah, I even entitled this week's episode in PCO's honor. I called it "Living Dead Man" because I just think that's really cool.
Yeah. What
Plays
they
right
throw on.
into kind of like something Undertaker, our version of it, if you will.
Yeah, I love it. I love PCO. I love the fact. I love he can't be killed. I love like whatever, but I just want to see him wrestling more and like in a feud and stuff. Even though this stuff is cool.
Well,
I mean, he kind of reminds me of Braun Strowman, where like a lot of the fun stuff is like outside the ring. You know what I mean? Like that dude was flipping
yeah,
trucks, but this guy's getting different things.
I think what my thing is here, and I think what I thought was so cool about this. I mean, like, did you see Bully Ray's face? It was fucking priceless. Like he like had this big scared look on his face. It's just funny because he lives up to the bully, the bully image,
Oh,
and then
totally.
he's
Oh,
scared
totally. Yeah.
scared of the bigger bully, if you will, in this
Yeah.
case.
And that's one
But
thing. I mean, I bashed not well, yeah, bashed Tommy Dreamer because like I just think he's a shitty character and he's been around forever and there's literally nothing I can't learn about Tommy Dreamer that I don't already know because I've seen his character for like 800 straight years on television. But Bully Ray, on the other hand, is a great fucking character, man. Just like you said, like his facial expressions, like he's just really good at what he does. It's
yeah,
simple and
it's like he knows when he sees the cameras panned on him. It
yeah.
seems like he always has it like spot on,
Oh,
like to
totally. Yeah,
react.
totally. He can,
Like
and he should be teaching people. I think, like he should be more of a coach. I think backstage, like showing people like where to fucking look at the cameras, like exactly when, like timing. He has incredible timing. This guy, like the way like he looks so scared. You know what I mean? Like and it's great because like you said, he's the bully, but he's like a pussy around bigger bullies, which it makes it adds to his character because like he's not just a bully that beats everyone, which I love. He's not just because he's like it's a real life bully. You send him to a bully in real life, they usually back
yeah.
down. So like I don't know, everything makes sense, and I'm back on Team Bully. As long as
Oh
Dreamer's
yeah.
out of the way.
I think I'm on your page now. I think the best thing going in Impact is definitely MK Ultra. Now that I look at the landscape of everything that's going on in Impact right now, and like it's pretty much the main interesting thing. That's like I mean, like the what do you call it? Like mind, like they,
Oh yeah, like the whole mind
you know, yeah,
control
I
or
can't think.
whatever. And
Yeah, mind control. I think that's an interesting
the thing is,
direction to go.
a lot of things just aren't clicking for me. Like Sammy and Swan. I think somebody else answered that. I think Alan Schrage mentioned that, and I agree. Like a lot of like I don't know, like that's the same with the design, the same with Swinger, the same with. I mean, okay, I like the Eddie Kazarian stuff. Sorry, I was going to throw that in there with them, but no, that's totally on its side thing on its own. I hope that keeps going. It's really fun. Eddie and
Well,
Kazarian are like just two monster guys. They could bring their wives in, have mixed matches and all kinds of shit.
Well, I think the shows would be much more enjoyable if we could at least get a couple storylines every week that are maybe not always
I was just
consistent,
gonna
but
say.
they're interesting. You know what I mean? To kind of hook us, and I think that's kind of been the problem for like shortly after Hard to Kill.
How many people have been watching WWE just because of the bloodline? One thing.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good point.
one goddamn thing, and like it's huge. People talk about it. I mean, there was literally a report yesterday that there's a possibility that Uso is going to show up on Impact, like chasing around Trinity because he's trying to mess with his brother's wife still. Because I mean, they can keep the thing going on Impact if they wanted. If I'm thinking if Impact is working with WWE, which we always thought maybe is a little thing.
Oh wow, I did think maybe
I
that
remember we thought that with the whole
yeah.
there was the knockouts belt, and there was something else, and I cannot remember the goddamn something else, and it's really annoying me.
Oh, with Mickey showing up at the Royal Rumble and all that.
But then there was something else, and it was like I think it was before Mickey, and we were like, "Huh, are they working together?" And then the Mickey thing happened. Like, shit, they're definitely working together in some way, but
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been footage with the broken footage. I don't know, but I don't think they ever used it on television, so maybe not. Also,
We might.
what a waste. Here's what Impact needs, man. I'd like to see Matt Hardy back because he sucks balls in AEW. He's been trashing things like like talking about creative and all kinds of stuff. He's basically done. He's basically done AEW. Like nobody wants to see him there. Absolutely nobody wants to see him there. But if you bring him back on Impact, like he's still Matt Hardy. He could be a star. Like I feel like that's the kind of things that they need to do. And as much as I don't love Matt Hardy. I want to there's a lot more people I'd rather see back. Like I think they need like guys like him and Kazarian, guys that are like, fuck this. I'm not sitting in the back behind all these kids that aren't as good as me.
Well, honestly, you touched on something like months ago. Why not bring back Mr. Anderson? I mean, like, why not give him,
Money. That's my. Why not bring in Adam Scherr or what the hell's his name? Braun Strowman, if you don't, aka Braun Strowman. I'm guessing the answer is simply money. Why not bring in Ryback? And I know a lot of Impact fans don't want to hear this shit, these names, but I mean, look at the names we have right now. Like, is Ryback really a huge downgrade from Bully Ray in the year 2023? I feel like it's a sidestep, maybe even an upgrade.
Yeah,
because even an upgrade because he's more recent or whatever. But whatever, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't want to bash Bully. I just think there's creative is
no,
like lazy or something, like because they were so good for so long. We would say it all the time how consistent they were, and they just totally lost it. And I don't know when, and I don't know how they can fix it.
We got a breakdown of what's going to be going on this Thursday too. EY in action versus Khan, which we're kind of and then we got a pretty interesting. This is a good one here. Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Kane.
Yeah.
And then the tournament finals between Swan and Swan and Callahan versus the Rascals.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I thought it was saving the finals for Emergence. Unless the UK dudes are back for Emergence and then they get the title shot, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and then might want to mention it out bring it out here tonight. The podcast shirt of the week is the team of Eddie and Alicia Edwards Ride or Die T-shirt, now available on Chop Impact for $24.99 up to $26.99. Pretty interesting neon green shirt.
Just understand it might take a few weeks, and no one's going to answer your emails. That's just how they roll over there. And I think that, what else do we have for this week? I think that's just about everything.
Yeah, pretty slow news week. I don't know, maybe coming out of Emergence and, next set of tapings, where there'll be, a little bit more interesting news out there. Hopefully a bigger...
Oh, just got a late mailbag question. Well, thank God for that, because we didn't have much going on here. So let's just check this one out. Hey, this one is for Jay. It's from... Motherfucker. Why do you hate transgender people so much? What's your fucking problem, dude? That's rude. I don't think I do hate transgender people, and I don't appreciate that question. No one knows anything about my thoughts on transgender people outside of Gisele and maybe that AEW wrestler who I've never said a bad word about. What the hell's her name? What was her name? Nia Jax. I know it's not Nia Jax. Why am I thinking Nia Jax? I know it's not. Sorry, what was that?
Sunny Kiss?
Nia, no, the bigger one. She was kind of like a monster type. But whatever. I thought she was a good wrestler. I thought she was good. She was a monster type. She was fun. I never said a word about her. So, the Gisele thing is totally on Gisele, and it has nothing to do with anything other than I don't think she's very good, and I find it creepy as hell she's sleeping with the boss, and Impact fans are out there sticking up for it like it's a cool, normal thing, when if it was anyone else doing this, we'd all be laughing our asses off like, oh, Tony, you piece of shit, banging your talent, you low-life trash, you know what I mean? we love bashing. We love bashing AEW, like everyone does. We'll be doing it a lot in the pro wrestling fan group, which is another reason I kind of opened it up to other things, because I want to bash a lot of things. I feel like wrestling just blows lately, and I'm tired, and it was either I'm going to take a break or I'm just going to start bashing more things all the time, which I think people like. Everybody says they want positivity, but no, you don't. You want negativity. You want people yelling and crying like that JD from New York who literally cries on air over pro wrestling, and he's a grown man. And hey, if that's what you want, I'm going to start bringing that kind of stuff starting next week or something. I will cry if you want me to.
Oh, and then I wanted to end the podcast, or if you're going to be cutting off here soon, this be a question for me. What does anybody think about the idea of Impact maybe having a second show? And I do mean a second true show, not a BTI.
I could have made that a real question, not a fake question there. Well, okay. I will answer definitely, but also, how about this? Get rid of BTI. Because what's one of the biggest complaints about Raw? It's fucking 3 hours. So BTI makes Impact 3 hours. And it usually starts off with a match that isn't good enough to be on Impact. So, I mean, it's similar to the pre-show thing where I'm really starting to get angry with. They just announced a bunch of pre-show matches for the that Multiverse thing. But they look shitty. Every pre-show match it's a shitty match. So what's the point? Why would you... you know what I mean? And, a lot of people can get the pre-shows for free. So if you put something awesome on there, maybe they'll buy the show. And, I feel like they do the opposite.
Well, and I felt like when they ditched Explosion, they got rid of a really cool concept with Spin Cycle. Totally. Round table discussion. You kind of get to know the talent. If somebody's on the fence and you sit down and you start to watch Explosion and you hit Spin Cycle, you kind of get to know the individuality, what makes them tick. They'll reminisce about things that happened in Impact. Why not, bring that back?
Yeah, just bring back Explosion. You already got the goddamn, what do you call it, the graphics and everything. You don't have to buy anything. I mean, it's a cool name, Explosion. Yeah. I mean, you can make it about the X Division and with the X there.
Yeah, just retool it and make it a little bit more sleeker looking.
And change the night, because, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but I don't like 3 hours, and I feel like, I don't know if people have thought about that, but, I mean, that's the big complaint about wrestling. Nobody wants fucking 3 hours of Raw. Everyone's going to freak out when AEW becomes 3 hours eventually, because it's going to be. And then Impact is 2 hours, but it's basically 3 with BTI, which I think a lot of people don't watch. But I think they would watch Explosion if it was on, like, 2 days later, 2 days before. Like you said, one match, make it about one match, not friggin' 2 or whatever, and then one interview, and I don't know, maybe like one more thing. Maybe one more fun thing you can throw in there.
What's that?
Oh, I said, like, I don't know, like a match, and then an interview, and then like maybe one more fun thing, Oh yeah, not for you. I mean, unless you could think of one right now.
No,
like,
I don't know.
I'm just thinking like a match, a thing, and then maybe one more thing, maybe some kind of fun thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, my thing is like I don't think any of the promotions that have like TV deals or whatever in place, I don't think any of them run a show on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Yeah, what's his name? Collision.
Oh, do they? Okay, well, see, I didn't know that, but I mean, per se, I mean, like, nobody really has it on like in the afternoon or know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I would go against NXT to be honest. I don't know. I feel like just from knowing and seeing Impact fans talking about things, that's the least I've seen Impact fans talk about is NXT for some reason. So I would go against them, or go an hour after them, go an hour before them. You know what I mean? Whatever the hell it is, like for that second show. I'd definitely watch it and let us know. Let us know if you'd watch second show, what you'd like the second show to be exactly. And yeah, that's about it for us, except I wanted to mention something about what I watched recently. Maybe I'm forgetting it. I don't know. What the hell did I? What'd you watch? Anything good over the weekend?
No, but I'm thinking about going to see the new Ninja Turtle movie. I'm kind of been on the fence because I'm kind of in the middle on the animation look, and I really don't like it being the voiceover characters being done by, I guess, like smaller kids or whatever. I don't know. It's just going to take some getting used to, so I'm kind of still debating on going to see that.
I watched the Meg 2, and I was really let down. But what are you going to do? Then I watched a Meg again, and I was like, it's exactly the same fucking movie, except like the end of it just gets crazier than the end of the first one. Oh, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mutant Mayhem. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
That just popped up on this cool thing I have that I'm not going to mention. Also, Insidious. I was planning on doing an Insidious catch-up yesterday with, what is this, number 4?
5, I believe, Jay.
Oh, jeez. Oh, fuck that. Okay. I don't even know if I haven't seen 4. Okay, 4 was like, wasn't there one that was like a made-for-TV kind of thing? Or like a made-for...
Yeah.
And like the good people weren't in it, and it was just the old lady?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right thing? That was 4?
Yeah, you are. You're definitely right on the right track.
Okay, and before we go, have you seen the Super Mario Brothers movie?
I did watch it. I'm not gonna say how, but I did get to watch it. I don't know. It was. It wasn't.
Would it be too childish for me?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Is there anything funny in there?
I don't know. It was pretty interesting. They like had some voiceover work, I believe, from Seth Rogen, if I'm not mistaken.
And Mario was, what's his name?
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt. My man, Chris Pratt, started a long time ago on Parks and Recreation, a show not many people knew about. He was fucking hysterical. The guy's been killing it ever since. And yeah, that's about all I got. Sorry for lack of news this week, but blame Impact for not having a lot of news other than that New Japan show. And again, I don't think a lot of people are interested, but we'll see. Let us know, seriously, if you're very interested in that New Japan show. And we mentioned Team 3D, and that's about it. Gary's dogs will now lead us out.
Yeah.
Thought they were going to start singing or something. That would have been cool.
No, Pomeranians are classic for having a pretty loud bark.
Could you get them to scream like the animals in the Thor movie, if you happen to see the last one.
No, they're not. They're not that trained yet.
They just pulled out these screeching, ridiculous I forget what the hell they were, and it was just so painful. And they did it like 3 times in the movie, and like the 3rd time, I almost threw my television at the screen. That's how annoying it was. But let's go before we get under 50 minutes, which we just did. Damn it. Okay, see you next week.
Take care.